Okay, so I'm going to be here to kind of oversee this, okay, but Nick and Emily are going to run the feedback here and set up our goals and all the various things that we did in the play, and we're going to ask you guys to see this as a reaction to Roman literature. Yes?
Hey, I don't know how specific stuff has to be on the thing, but the date is 100 years in the future.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Typos are actually allowed on these things. It's great. It's amazing. I mean, you can do this and you can go, attention, what's blah, blah. Is it really 90 years in the future?
Oh, 90, I guess.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. So would you all just put a little squiggle thing and go 2050? You know, I don't like modern dates. I find that really, dates should be going down, not up. And I get really confused about dates when they start going up. You know, so I just, the whole AD period has been a major disappointment. Okay. All right, so are you guys ready to go? I'm going to turn it over to our MCs.
All right, so what we're going to try to do is sort of quickly summarize the Adelphoe, the original Greek play, or the Roman adaptation of the Greek play, and then summarize these guys, the work these guys did, and then hopefully we can get you guys to discuss themes and just overall reactions to the play. We would like to have this just be as open as possible, so if you guys have any thoughts, feel free to just say them. You don't have to raise your hand and wait to be called on. Just be respectful of
the questions are allowed. Yes. Why did you do blah?
Please ask questions. Yep. So, I don't know, did you guys read the original Terence play? Or did, alright, so do one of you guys want to give a quick summary of the Terence play?
Like I did on Monday?
You did.
Okay.
Quick. Yeah. Less than 50 minutes. Summary. Anybody? Anybody?
I think the author should do it, since they know it probably pretty well.
Alright, so the original play, you have two brothers, Denia and Mikio, and they have two sons, Aeschines and Ctesippho. They're trying to raise, and they both have different child-rearing philosophies. Mikio believes that you should indulge the child, and you should never tell them no, and you should always let them have what they want. And Denia believes if you beat your children enough, they will do what you tell them to. So this whole play is about how they kind of reconcile these differences and how their child-raising philosophies have affected their sons.
So what happens in the course of the play?
So the play begins with a prostitute abduction, and and at first we are led to believe that Aeschines, the son being raised by Mikio, has done it, but we later found out that it was actually Ctesippho, and he's the one who was the prostitute.
Well, Aeschines has actually done it, but he did it for Ctesippho.
Yes, indeed. So through the course of the play, we find out that Ctesippho is in love with a prostitute, but too afraid to steal her because he's afraid his dad is going to beat him up. Aeschines has no reservations whatsoever, gets the girl next door pregnant, also steals the prostitute, which leads to all sorts of issues with can he get married to the girl next door. And through the play, it all gets resolved, and in the end, Denia gets his revenge on his brother, who has so far won through the entire play, by making Mikio marry the old crone next door through indulgence. So Aeschines says, "Dad, will you marry the old lady next door?" And Mikio, according to his child-rearing philosophy, cannot refuse. And so we kind of get a weird, lopsided victory in the end for Denia.
Cool. And then hopefully maybe one of you guys can summarize what happened on Wednesday in the adaptation. Or it doesn't have to be one of you guys. Feel free for anybody to speak out, work together. Anybody? You're all here, so we know you know what happened.
Well, let me ask you, who is the central character or central character in the play you saw on Wednesday? Come on, guys, somebody answer.
If you don't know names, you can just point.
Yeah.
Like that guy.
I guess Cyrus, is that how you say it? Cyrus. He played a much bigger role in your adaptation than the summary in the original play.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
He played a bigger role, but did he play a more important role?
I guess the two heroes of the play were the young lady,
Katie.
young man, Katie, and Ben.
Who's not here?
So the characters are kind of equivalent to each other. You guys, it's easy to identify Cyrus because Cyrus is the same name, right? Who would you identify Katie with?
We have, I don't know if you can see it.
You
I
definitely
kind of recreated what Dr. Dan, can you see that?
No.
Not at all.
You need a better, yeah, marker.
Should I go over it?
Yes, you should definitely go.
Okay. So this is the original Adelphoe character.
Yeah, you can see that. Okay.
And there are obviously characters in our adaptation who match up with some of these. So we can go through right now. We've already said Cyrus to Cyrus, we kept the same name.
Give you a clue, we weren't super creative with the names.
Yeah, there's a little bit of alliteration going on. So who are Mikio and Demia? Right.
And so that kind of changes things, doesn't it? Because you've switched to gender, haven't you?
And you notice in the original, like Mikio and Demia were two brothers, whereas in the modern adaptation, they were married. Yep.
Which makes sense.
We thought so.
Then in Adelphoe we have Demia, the child Demia is raising this Tisipo, who is, anyone know?
I think that would technically be Katie, but I feel like you took both the teenagers and kind of put both characters in each one. So
Yes.
because like Anthony was the shy one, but he was doing all the stuff that I can't say what's his name did, and yet Katie was like the outgoing one, but did beat up him. So yeah.
So do you guys, as the writers, feel like that's a fair?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Katie and Anthony were a little bit more fluid just in writing it. They actually switched roles and switched personalities a lot through the different drafts. And we kind of started with Katisipo and our Katie character being very shy and very kind of a wilting violet. And she kind of didn't end up that way, so.
Yeah, we originally wrote them in as siblings. And we had the idea that Debbie and Mike would be rival psychologists, each raising one child to fit their point of view, but then they got a little crazy. Yes.
But yeah, our Katie and Anthony, they were kind of funny because we kind of took all of their traits, put them in a big pot, and then started pulling things apart. And we actually ended up with two well-defined characters, but we were a long time getting there.
Yes.
For sure. Mike and Debbie were much easier.
Did the fact that you put Mikio and Demia as a married couple, did that influence Katie and Anthony? Because instead of them being siblings, they became sort of love interests as well.
Originally we were going to include some sort of character that was reminiscent of the prostitute in the play. And it was interesting how the roles kind of developed because, we did end up with a prostitute, but
Not filling the same role.
Exactly. So we kept a lot of elements of the play, but changed them and made the main love interest, Anthony and Katie.
But also, we kind of had trouble making them siblings. And initially, in our first draft, they were siblings, and then we realized it's not really that realistic to have one parent raising one child and one parent raising the other. So we kind of took Anthony out of that relationship so Debbie wouldn't have an influence on him, and his main influence would be Mike, who happens to be his psychologist.
Yeah.
So that way we still kind of got one significant influence in each of the children's lives.
Sure. So, we've got all the characters up here. Do you guys have any questions for them specifically about the characters they play, or?
I guess I just have a question in general, like how many hours did you all put into it?
20 plus easily.
Yeah.
We've been hanging out like every day.
Marathon, 4-hour rehearsals.
Yeah.
But they've been fun. Like it was honestly, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad it went out the way it did. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's better than writing in large paper.
You still have to write paper though.
2 pages paper.
Yeah.
This is going to be seen by Tishner.
She knows what she did.
I can tell you with great conviction that I'm speaking the truth, that she has a long-term memory and she can wreak revenge far after the fact. So just so you know.
Oops.
You need to call Jerry, maybe he can fix it.
There you go.
A lot of mafia people.
So let's talk about another thing rather than characters. Let's talk about events that happen in the play. What things happen in the Greek original that you see either changed or imported into the play? We need you guys to talk, come on.
I have a question.
Yeah, go Sam.
Why a spider instead of like stealing a prostitute?
So we actually were originally going to make the stolen creature a puppy.
Hang on, that's cute.
Well, yeah, it's a sort of funny slang thing. But anyway, so yeah. But then we ran into trouble with like the conflict involved. Like, oh well, whose puppy is it? Oh, is it from a pet store? You know, and it just wasn't complex enough.
Plus, Tony's spider is way more fun.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
That doesn't in no way answers the question that you were asked.
Why a spider?
Yeah, and not a prostitute. I mean, that spider-prostitute transition isn't an
Because
easy
you
one.
can't steal a prostitute
Yeah.
and have it be a happy play. And
That's true. That's
Really?
true.
we're getting into some sketchy waters there.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
And mostly, we didn't want Anthony to end up in jail. And yeah, so we kind of went to an animal instead, originally.
Exactly, and really the spider allowed us to develop Katie's character, because otherwise she was just kind of this person that was in the play and didn't really know what to do with her. But giving her the animal rights activist angle, you know, gave her depth, and we were also, it was kind of a social commentary in some ways, so. Basically, we were kind of bringing forth character types that are extremes of people that exist in our society today.
Please, you would. Sorry, you had a comment.
He took my comments.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I was curious about the rednecks, because I understood the cop and like sending them on a wild adventure, and I understand the pimp and the prostitute, but I'm not exactly sure what the rednecks are for. They're great, I love them.
Basically to create tension. Also, I've been watching a lot of True Blood, and I really wanted to write hick characters, so,
Well, I think they also, I'm just going to jump on this train here.
Go.
I think they also gave you a chance to see a little bit more of Katie's character, because she didn't really have anyone to clash with other than her mother. And if you don't see people reacting to different situations, you never really understand them. So I think it gave Katie's character a chance to have a little bit more depth and bring out her animal rights activism. So.
Can I say something good? I felt also like it was just to let the more main characters shine and show their personalities a little more deeper, and also just to show the atmosphere of this restaurant, the diversity of it.
That's where my interest was in the more obscure characters, like the two guys at the beginning, the old ladies, like, so where, I mean, I kind of understand, like, their role in it, but, like, what did you invest in them, I guess my question is, like, how did they relate to you important, if that makes sense?
Interesting.
All of the kind of random-ish characters that were in Through the Diner, they were kind of part of a bigger project that we had. We needed a diner feeling. We needed it to feel like it was busy and chaotic, and we needed Cyrus to have people to play off and Katie to have people to play off. And we actually originally just had one couple. They were our patron couple. They were kind of an old married couple.
Yeah.
And we got rid of them because basically you can only do so much with that, and we kind of needed a bigger range of people to advance the plot. Like, we kind of needed the stoners in there to see the spider and run away, and nobody's gonna believe them because they're high.
Yeah.
You know, we needed kind of the little old ladies to be commenting and kind of pushing forward the drama in the diner for their daytime television.
Exactly.
So we ended up taking two characters and creating, like, what was it, eight characters out of those two, just to kind of give us some variety and give us different situations and different personalities to react with. Did that answer the question at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I also think that we were there for it because there were just so many of us that wanted to do this play. A lot of it was roles for us to fill, you know, instead of like, I mean, I couldn't do costume or anything like that. Like, so it was just like, so all of us had like the job to do for this play, I guess, was part of it too.
They do move the play forward in a way. It's like, especially the old women that acted as muses in the Greek play. I thought that was beneficial to the characters.
They're our chorus.
Exactly.
So since this is about reception, was there anything in the original play that was really the thing that kind of sparked you into getting all these secondary characters who don't have direct analogs?
The slaves. Yeah, like Dromo and Geta and all these kind of characters that just kind of flit about in the play, and they occasionally have a great line, like Dromo turns the tide of the play with his little one-liner, Peace goes in the house, and suddenly everybody's in a panic. So yeah, I would say kind of the slaves, the other, like Hegio, the random characters that you didn't see a lot of that had a really big effect on the plot.
Exactly.
And it's kind of interesting too that a lot of the major characters are motivated by what they hear downtown. So Demia keeps coming back in the play because he's heard that this is happening, or he's heard that this, and so what you really done is bring on stage what's actually happening off stage, but motivating the on-stage action of the original. So you're just kind of showing us the gossip that underlies the classical play, and you're actually bringing it on stage, which is very fun.
It kind of felt like all the random characters, you know, their personalities sprouted out of like a little line here, a little line there out of the original play. Like, instead of just having a servant say a line, it was like this person that we kind of get a sense of. It brought the whole thing like into a much more vivid whole experience, I guess.
So, were there any of the things we learned about in the Roman history class, like themes from Rome or anything like that, that you guys picked up on in their adaptation? You guys think?
One of them that I noticed was just the theme of the father, like the dad in your guys' play with Mike. He just had this air of like being right. Like, I am just the shiz. And that's like a very Roman history type of thing where the father ruled the family and what he said was true. And it just had that kind of same feel to it.
Despite him being wrong most of the time.
Yeah. But he thought he was right the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say in comparison to Debbie as the mother? Because I saw that too with that father figure, but I think in this adaptation that maybe Debbie was I mean, Debbie's the one that was, I don't know, you kind of seemed like
Dominant.
you're the dominant one in the relationship. Do you feel like that's true?
I feel like I want it to be. You know those the Roman Matronas that come in and they're like, this is how it is, and their husbands are like, I know, honey, it's okay. You know, and that's like, you know, how I think we ended up with it is I think that it ended up being, you know, this very strong woman who had her, you know, opinions and had, you know, this need to control everything, this need to push her family forward. And in the end, you kind of see the resolution of accepting the father as the patriarch and kind of saying, oh, there is a family structure here that maybe I should pay attention to a little bit. And as long as you listen to me, then I can respect you and I can follow you. And all of a sudden, the family works again.
Exactly. We were trying to convey more of a partnership as a modern marriage sort of thing. So, you know, in the resolution, for a while we were considering having them get divorced or something, but we just really wanted a happy ending. Yeah, it was going to be really sad. So we decided to have them meet kind of on middle ground, and
I'm not entirely.
well, no, but I mean,
really learns his lesson.
that's true. But we decided to give them hope for the future, and
But I also think it was important to keep those characteristics of Demia in Debbie, especially since that's where you're echoing is Demia's character. I think if you had written her as this soft-spoken, okay honey, we'll do whatever you want, it wouldn't have paralleled the play as much as it did.
right.
I thought you two did an excellent job with that as far as Media and Demia go, because I mean, it's not a huge leap to make someone who's obsessed with philosophy in the ancient era a kind of Dr. Phil psychologist.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Very easy jump, and then Debbie was definitely Demia. Worked really well.
I agree. I think, yeah, it made a lot more sense to me. Receptively, in today's society, you really see that a lot as one parent being, you know, the lazy friend to the kids and one being the dominant. You know, they have to punish, give rules, where like having two brothers and one brother give a child over, you just don't see that today. So it did make it a lot more relatable to have them a couple fighting over and the kid getting stuck in the middle, and then, you know, that whole dynamic.
Yes, and Dr. T talked about how even though the men in ancient Rome, they're the faces of ancient Rome that we see, but the women, you know, she emphasizes, must have had this huge influence. You know, they were, you know, behind the curtain, but they were the ones, you know, like puppets, you know, and that's really how I felt with Mike and Debbie. In the end, it was really Debbie that won. And Mike is this psychologist, the one whose face the public sees, but Debbie's the one that's holding the power.
Because the men are the head of the family, but the woman is the neck. And she can present any way she wants to.
Well, and I think having Debbie kind of give in at one moment, but then ultimately coming off winner parallels the Adelphoe.
And that raises, you guys talked about the endings. So let's take that a little bit further. Do either of these plays have happy endings? Do any of the characters actually learn things in any of these plays? So are you picking up on the vibe of what constitutes a resolution?
I feel like in the original, Mike learns his lesson. He gets a kick in the pants from Demia because Demia's like, look what happens when I out-indulge you. Your whole life falls apart. Like, this isn't the answer. And so I feel like Mikio did, you know, end up learning his lesson in that one. And even though Mike kind of seems to win and never really learns his lesson in the adaptation, I think the more important focus was on Debbie winning because she was the Demia echo. Because she gets to keep her family, which is what she wanted. She couldn't lose them, so she changed and won because she got to keep them. And they're not perfect, but
they didn't leave her life, so.
Yeah, and I think that in the original, the ending was kind of destructive. Like, oh, and now Mikio's life is ruined, you know? And we didn't want that to happen. Because I think that, you know, Mike and Debbie have their rough spots, but at the end of the play, even if Mike didn't necessarily learn anything yet, they're getting there and they're resolving their issues, and they will resolve their issues ultimately.
So you wanted a happier ending?
We did.
Yeah.
We agreed on that very first thing.
Yeah, I thought that the ending of Adelphoe was really bizarre. It just kind of came out of the blue, and I...
Would you think that the ancients would see it as a happy ending?
In Rome, yes.
Why?
Because of the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Like,
The patriarchy is one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the hard father.
What about the kids? I mean, we go back to the original play. Did Catesibo or Aeschylus actually learn anything or grow?
Oh, no.
That was the way.
Absolutely not. They got what they wanted and they didn't have to learn anything.
In a play about child rearing, it might be an important issue to show the child growing to being a more mature. I mean, one might think of going that direction. And you just denied all of that.
Oh, for sure. The only people who actually made any change or any progress were Mikio and Nemia.
Okay, so what about your kids, Kitty and Anthony? Did they grow?
Not really.
Katie did a little bit.
Yeah, Katie did. Yeah, I think Katie did. Katie ended up like being like, okay, Anthony, like, although she was really reluctant, she still gave him a chance that she wouldn't have.
Anthony learned to keep stealing.
Everything worked out real well for him.
Anthony got what he wanted, and Katie, she only ever conceded to have a relationship with her mother because she got what she wanted. She got to go to Africa.
Right.
So it's not like she lost anything by having a happy relationship. She never really had to.
So are we all agreeing here that children are hopeless?
Yes.
There's no way actually to raise children successfully.
Yeah.
Not when you're focused on your own issues. You get two really crazy parents who can't figure out their own issues, they're not going to be able to fix their kids. Sorry.
That's a wonderful thing to end the class on.
Emily and I were talking before this about the character Sugar Cookie and how she was sort of a prostitute, or not a prostitute, a pimp. And,
A small business owner.
She's a small business owner.
Used to be.
We were just wondering, like, where that came from. Was that influenced by, I mean, she sort of came in and, like, I mean, she solved Anthony's problem, she helped Katie with her problem, she helped Cyrus with his problem. Like, what, but I guess I don't see a direct parallel with Adelphoe, so I'm sort of wondering where Sugar Cookie came from.
Well, actually, in Menagerie plays, and also I think in some Roman comedies, a prostitute will function as kind of the one tying everything together and, you know, getting the young lovers to finally end up together. So that's where I was drawing that from. You know, when we put Sugar Cookie in, we wanted to make her the only reasonable one. And, you know, making her Madame, we were also making a social statement. Like, it doesn't matter who you are or what you do.
She's the only one who wasn't crazy.
Exactly.
It's actually original. I mean, you have a pimp in the original. How's the pimp treated in the original?
Well, of course he's silly. Yeah, I always felt really bad for the pimp. So, I wanted the pimp to win, probably.
That's really fascinating.
I think our pimp came more from other plays than by Menander.
Yeah, that's
kind of true. We put her in there because we wanted to have a happier ending. We felt like we needed kind of a figure who could see things objectively, kind of resolve most of the issues in the play. And Cyrus did a little bit of that too.
But you also gave her Iggy, so what's Ignacio?
Yeah, I think that Sugar Cookie and Iggy ended up being kind of a parallel of the whole child-rearing thing, just with a different twist. Actually, the first time that when we were writing it, we incorporated the pimp and the prostitute. Their roles were reversed, so Ignacio was the pimp and Sugar Cookie was the prostitute. But as I wrote Sugar Cookie more and more, her character developed in a different way, and she didn't work as the prostitute anymore because she was in charge. And I had the idea to switch the gender roles just for fun, and it worked so well. And I thought that it was a lot more appropriate, so yeah, and that also kind of related to the original play and the incredible misogyny that goes on in it, so.
So you really wanted to contrast the misogyny.
Yes.
You really wanted to counteract it
exactly.
in your play and make the women empower characters in ways that they're not. Because one of the things you're obviously leaving out of this, and what's probably one of the things that keeps it from being produced today, is that it's really based upon a rape.
Well, right.
And we just shudder in horror as we see this, and you obviously did not put a rape in the play.
No, we did not.
So how did you guys feel about that? Could you put a rape in the play?
Not like a comedy, like.
Just
exactly.
2/3 of ancient comedies have rapes in them, right?
I guess it's definitely today much more of a tragedy than a comedy. Like, oh yeah, knock out the neighbor, now we're getting married, it's fine.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something real quick, just a short comment. I really felt like Sugar Cookie was the female version of Cyrus.
So, how so?
Well, just, in the original Cyrus is, the mediator of everything, and in this play it seemed like Sugar Cookie knew everything.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little more than Cyrus, but that they were both mediating things just in slightly different ways, and they were connected because of Anthony. And yeah,
I wonder if you guys got that. Did you get the connection with?
So Anthony was Sugar Cookie and Cyrus's kid, is that what it was?
Indeed.
Okay, I thought I heard that right.
Yes, that was the subtext there.
I thought that was interesting too, because we have Mike and Debbie fighting for influence over their child, and then Sugar Cookie comes in, and she's the one, like you mentioned before, she's the one teaching them. Really, she's the one that resolves things. So.
Yeah, we kind of like contrast Mike and Debbie were like this happy couple, even though it's like so weird.
Yeah. Even though they're strong, it's incredibly bizarre.
Wait, so does Anthony know the Sugar Cookie?
That's right.
The mom?
No.
Nope.
He doesn't know much, really.
That's the feel that I got. I was making sure.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Are there any actors, do any of you have any input on your characters in either your role in the play or your connection to Adelphoe that we haven't gotten to yet?
I felt like all of the characters were extremely well cast. Like as far as casting goes, like I walk in and I'm this crazy screaming lady and people are like, there's not much different. Sorry, okay? And Jordan's over there as Mike. He's like, it's okay guys, don't worry about it. And it's not a huge deviation, not that he's that arrogant in real life.
I hope not.
But I feel like as far as the casting goes, it played really well, and I think that helped with the reception a lot. Is that's like they weren't terribly hard, jumps to make. I promise I'm a nice person.
Moving on. Can I ask you guys? Let me ask the audience. There was some multiple role play. Was that confusing? How did you guys react to the fact that some of the actors were playing different roles?
Like, the costumes made it pretty easy, like,
Yeah.
so I wasn't confused.
It wasn't an easy transition.
Their personality
Yeah, some of those were really fast changes.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Thank you.
Well done.
It's so hard.
I thought the accents in it for me, that's.
Yeah.
That was all right.
So what's interesting is vocally and in the costumes, that really assisted you guys with seeing the change. Did it work the other way? Did you see a little bit of Maudette in Sugar Cookie? Did they leak over at all? Did you see any kind of subtextual connections?
I think there was a fluidity between all of the extra characters. We really felt the story moving along. They kind of complemented each other, and they have a relationship, and you definitely saw it, but it was never like a direct link between the pimp and the cop and stuff like that. I don't think I ever.
I would say the different characters being played by the same people actually work very well as far as you recognize them. They weren't necessarily main characters, like, oh well, and except of course Sugar Cookie with her insights at the end. But other than that, it was kind of recognized that they were characters for the main characters to react to.
Exactly. I have some ways that they sort of flow together or against each other in the middle chart. So they're all of my characters anyway, Goldblum, Maudette, and Sugar Cookie, they're all against Katie in different ways. The detective thinks she stole the spider, Maudette is making fun of her, and then Sugar Cookie is protecting Anthony. They're all hard asses. And, but then it sort of like a wave. The Detective Goldblum is really just mean, dominant over her partner. Maudette is more submissive in her relationship to Joe, and then Sugar Cookie's this really friendly dominance over Iggy. And then again, Detective Goldblum, she hates Debbie, right? They're like two bulls bashing heads, two similar personalities. And you just get a hint of that when I said, she's charming. But then Maudette doesn't even meet Debbie, and then Sugar Cookie's comforting Debbie and sticks up for her even. Detective, goodness gracious. Okay, she doesn't know what's going on, even though she's this, hard-ass detective. She really has no idea. And then Maudette knows how to provoke Katie, and then Sugar Cookie pretty much knows everything. And also with the clothes, there's just sort of that little shock factor at the end. The detective and the redneck, they have appropriate clothes for their personality, but the Sugar Cookie doesn't. Personality is quite different from what she's wearing.
So is that also true of the characters you played?
Yeah, I would say so. With my characters, it was fun just because I was on stage with her, we were a team. We worked well off of each other. Every one of the characters we had, I felt like we did a really good job on, and that helped a lot. I don't know. For me, it was hard because I felt like everyone was very dynamic. I go from a stoner to a cop to a redneck and then to a prostitute. I just feel like it's hard to relate to any of them on a common ground. I don't know if you guys noticed, but for my first three characters, I interacted with them pretty well. I felt like the cop was more subtle. I kind of just bat my hat or whatever. There's supposed to be kind of like a sexual tension with them. If that makes sense. It was like I was interested. I felt like throughout the play it was always like I am into older women. And so older women, cop and older women. So. But
I think it's interesting to point out also the pairs were all kind of instruction pairs. When you have the detectives, Goldblum is teaching Anderson how to be a good cop, and then Joe and Maudette they don't really teach each other anything, but they team up and try to teach Katie things. And then at the end with Sugar Cookie and Ignacio, Sugar Cookie is teaching Iggy how to be a good prostitute. So I think it's an interesting continuation of this theme of education and how people are taught in different ways.
I thought it was cool because for me it was a progression. So I go from the cop learning, Maudette teaming, Ignacio trying to up one, because I felt like there was a lot of lines I said in there that I was trying to impress her, like, hey, I want to be second in command, I want to run this business one day, you know, like I'm capable of running this business, I'm capable of my position, so I felt like I progressed as a character through all three of them, like I ended up going to the end where, you know, I'm just as good as she is, and I can do it, but obviously he wasn't, like he still had done things, but it was just the effort that was put into it, I felt like that was really cool for me to progress like that.
But Doris and Flora don't change through the play, so that was really different. But did you feel that they grew, or what did you feel the role was?
I felt for the most part, Doris and Flora were just, like they said, the Greek muses, the people that would comment and would seriously just sit back because that was their daytime TV, like they said.
Yeah. Kind of like they helped move the story along a little bit, I felt like. Just because there needed to be someone there in the diner, and
Yeah, but you had a very interesting note with Cyrus, where we would like to be a more active character in the play.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm sort of curious to hear what you thought your role was as Cyrus in the adaptation.
Sort of the straight man, I guess. I don't know. So my connection, like all the ancient stuff, is through like Greek philosophy, which I've read. So I haven't read poetics for a couple of years. What does Aristotle say about these characters? And if I remember, like I think maybe you're supposed to sort of identify with Cyrus and Sugar Cookie, so that you can identify with them and see the comedy of the flawed characters around them. Comedy arises, it's grounded in deformities that come from ugliness and not pain. And all these people are sort of ugly and everything. You're not supposed to identify with them, you're supposed to see their flaws. And maybe sort of identify with us, because although we have flaws, we're interesting characters, we're the solid characters, you gotta identify with them. You achieve catharsis through our characters, you achieve catharsis through seeing the deformities of rise out of ugliness in the other characters. At the end, you see that and then walk out and go back into Polis and be a good citizen in the Demos. So that's what I think we were doing. I'm sorry, this isn't a Greek philosophy class. So.
That's what interesting. So do you think that was actually achieved by the characters and only for the audience that gets that kind of catharsis?
Well, I mean, isn't that the function of Aristotelian poetics? I mean, there's that, I think it's rhetoric that talks about catharsis.
And it's poetics too, but that's not.
I mean, and I mean, that's because that's just, I'm a philosophy major, and it's always easy, Plato hates everything. But it's always interesting, kind of, I assume that this playwright was reading Aristotle.
Absolutely.
And he's got to fit in here. And so that's what I was looking for. But I read poetics for a couple of years. So my memories are fuzzy.
Well, Cyrus and Sugar Cookie are interesting characters because, and we did that on purpose, is that they have faults that are so obvious and they're so not ashamed of, that it's like they're kind of more free than any of the other characters to be honest and to be objective. So Mike and Debbie, they have faults, but neither of them are willing to acknowledge that fact. And it's the same with Katie and Anthony and almost every other character in the play. It's just like Cyrus and Sugar Cookie are not afraid of who they are, and they're not kind of bound by those restrictions. So that kind of leaves them free to be the most open and honest characters in the play.
I'm going to interrupt and jump to costumes since we kind of brought it up earlier. As far as costuming goes, I really wanted it to be clear that there were contrasts in the play. Like if you look at, Debbie was in really stark colors, black and purple, and Mike was in more earth tones like brown, and he was kind of laid back and whatever. And she had her hair pulled up really tight. She was in control of everything, and he's just kind of got the hippie ponytail going on. It was great. And Katie and Anthony. Anthony, I don't know if you guys got the joke, but he was in a Spider-Man shirt because he stole a spider. Anyway, he was in red. He was in bright red because he was, so full of all these crazy emotions and so out of control. And if you looked at Katie's costume, she was in like gray and green because they're kind of calmer colors, and she kind of was like a mixture of Katisifo and Icekiness. She was mixed, and as far as rednecks go, I just really wanted them to be obvious rednecks. And as far as Sugar Cookie went, I really wanted her costume to be a huge contrast to her personality. Like, we needed that to throw the audience a little bit, because you expect her to come out as one thing and she comes out as this completely different character than you thought, which turned out really well at the end when you kind of figure out that she's Anthony's mom, and I think it helps you be less judgmental, but at the same time, because of her costume, because we wanted to be kind of stereotypical, so that you could automatically associate stereotypes with these people, and then the dialogue could kind of punch those stereotypes in the face. So that was kind of what we wanted to do with costuming, but I'm glad it worked out with the minor characters. We were kind of concerned, but yeah, I'm glad it worked well.
Can I throw it open to the audience to have any comments? We've got like 1 minute left. And please tell us what you thought, or...
Oh, I just had a question. So in the original play, which I haven't read, what happens to the stolen prostitute? Because the spider just kind of, doesn't really get resolved.
The spider's free.
The spider's free.
The spider runs out.
To wreak havoc.
Exactly.
Bite
people.
Prostitute and Terence class, tell me what happens to Bacchus the prostitute.
Bacchus marries Catissa, well, I don't know if they get married.
They
They end up
can't
together.
get married, but
In a weird kind of way.
Catissa ends up keeping her.
Right, where does he keep her?
On the farm.
On the farm.
So she's gonna go live with Demia.
You don't want that.
No.
It's why you're happier.
Yeah, the spider's way happier. Yeah.
So any other comments, guys?
I thought it was great. You all did a great job.
It was a great reception probably.
Quick question, I don't know if someone asked this, I spaced out, but how many of you actually have like theater or any kind of background?
Never acted in my life.
I didn't know it's in a high school play, that counts.
Nothing serious, like.
I saw a lot of that in your. Okay, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you very much for coming. Okay. And one more time, let's say, hope you're having a good time in Greece, Dr. T. Wow, we're back.